Hello, and welcome once again to the Dental Marketing Mastery Series. This podcast is brought to you by dentalwebcontent.com and New Patients Incorporated. I'm Howie Horrocks, the founder of New Patients Incorporated. Along with me once again is my friend and partner and the president of New Patients Incorporated, Mark Dilatush. Mark, how are you today?
Hey, Howie, how are you today?
Oh, really good, man. Really, really good.
It's sunny
out here. What are we going to talk about today? What are we going to talk about today?
What are we going to talk about? Well, last week we talked about the two halves of the dental market and what our listeners should expect, both in the form of results and business metric impact, if they use their marketing dollars to promote to either half.
Right.
Then we talked a little bit about targeting, and you kind of have to talk about targeting when you're talking about the two halves of the market. So we talked a little bit about, we gave an example, direct mail, and we gave an example. Okay, well, if you need volume of patients, target more toward the middle and use postcards. If you want a good volume of really good quality new patients, you would target about the top 40% of the market with a trifold. And if you want big cases, you would promote primarily to the top 10% with, let's say, 8-page magazines all about your practice. And that's how you would segment the local marketplace. And when we say segment the local marketplace, we don't just mean to have those people read your postcard, read your trifold, or read your magazine and call. Because about half of the recipients go to your website first, okay? And they'll call from there, right?
Yep, that's right.
But for the purposes of this conversation, at this point in the Mastery Series, we really want to move our attention into what you believe as the audience. Do you believe that 48% of the females will not choose a healthcare provider for their practice based primarily on a price incentive? Howie and I have learned over all these years that, dentists who never become our clients or never try what we've written in. Now, Howie, you've written 3 books. I wrote one of them with you. We don't hold secrets. We tell people exactly what to do and how to promote dentistry without promoting primarily with price.
Sure.
And for some reason, dentists hesitate to do it.
Well, I think, Mark, that's a good point. The question you asked, do you believe that there's a segment out there, about half, that won't choose a healthcare provider based primarily on price? The reason they don't believe it, I think, is because they don't see it. It's all about price, and they look at the corporate offices down the street, and they look at the other competitors and what the kind of marketing they're putting out, and it's all about price, price, price. So, of course, the dentist is going to think, well, yeah, I've got to go down the same route, or else I'm going to miss out.
Yeah, I've got to do what I see all my colleagues doing.
Exactly.
Okay, now let's hold that thought for a second. In advertising, when does it make sense to do the same thing as all of your competition? That's a good question, isn't it?
It's a very good question.
It's a very good question, okay? Now, I'm not going to say never, but I'm going to say the times you would do that from a strategic standpoint are pretty thin. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Isn't the idea to differentiate yourself?
Well, that's the bottom line with marketing is, why am I different than the 14 other people that you could get a similar service or product from?
Right.
And you have to answer that question, and it has to be a damn good answer.
Right. Or several answers. Right. And it doesn't always have to be price. Right?
No,
Right.
definitely not.
So why don't dentists believe, or why don't some dentists believe? Now I have some exercises for you, and I have some introspection that you can try on your own. And I'm talking to the audience here, not Howie. I know Howie knows this. But I would love for the audience, the next time you are in the presence of, let's say, 3 or more females in their child rearing years, whatever, 35 and up, 30 and up, females, more than 3 of them, 30 years or older. Ask them the following question. Would you choose a healthcare provider for your family based primarily on a price incentive? And just listen for their answer. I'd also encourage you to look at their faces, because 2 out of the 3 are going to look at you semi-insulted that you even asked that question. Those are the women you're looking for in your dental practice. The moms
Right.
who would not choose a healthcare provider based primarily on price. Now, we know they're out there because we've invested in exhaustive market research. In other words, it wasn't our customers. This is a market research that we paid for, that somebody else did. And they asked a wide slice of not only women, men too, but men were pretty predictable. we knew what men were going to say about dentistry before we asked the question.
Yeah, we're either on or off. There's no
right. Yeah. It doesn't hurt. No, okay, I'm good. I'm out of here. So, but women, their selection criteria is very, very interesting to look at when you look at all the questions that we asked in the surveys and all the answers that were returned. And it was 48-52. And we weren't surprised by it, but it quantified it for us. So if you take that little exercise and you ask those moms yourself, you're going to see the exact response we saw in the market research that we've paid for. And I'm going to ask you a couple of other questions. And these are, anybody in the audience can go and look for yourself. In your dental market area, in the area that you compete for dental patients, is there a thriving dental practice that is largely fee for service? And the answer is yeah. The answer is yes in every dental market in the country. And some places the answer is yes times 2 or 3 or 4. Well, if all mom cared about was price, how could there possibly be a fee-for-service dental practice in your community? How is that even possible? Now, we're not saying that everybody listening to this should go fee-for-service. We're not the judge. This is not judgment day. If you participate with 1, 2, 5, 7, 11 insurance plans, that's awesome. However you want to do it, however you want to get it to where it is you're going is fine with us. We're just saying, think about the consumer for a second. Think about what's around you. Think about how all your competition is advertising their practices. Look at how it's the same. Look at the race to the bottom of pricing that they are all participating in, and you may be as well. Is that healthy for you? Is that healthy for the dentist? Is that healthy for the patient? Probably healthy for the insurance companies, wouldn't you think, Howie?
Yeah.
I think
there's a little bit of a debate on whether it's healthy for the profession.
right. I think destroying pricing powers would be good for insurance companies, but we won't go there.
No.
I want you to just look around you and say to yourself, yeah, really, how can that other dental practice over there, how can they survive fee for service or maybe taking one plan? How are they so busy? How come they have multiple doctors? How come their parking lot is full? How did that happen? If all women cared about was price. Now,
right. There's a whole segment there that isn't being talked about or thought about much.
Right. Okay. Now let's get back to why dentists might think that all women care about is price. Well, you have to turn that question around and ask yourself, why is almost every question that I get asked about price? Why does every phone call have something to do with my insurance coverage or what are your fees for when a new patient calls my practice? Mark and Howie must be wronged because I know almost every new patient, all they ever ask us about is where we are, hours of operation, how much it's going to cost when they come in, and does our office take their insurance? Wouldn't you say that's pretty common for all dental practices, Howie?
Yeah, I would. I've been listening to that, and so have you, for 26 years. Very common.
Okay, basically, okay, there is no such thing as everything's the same, but that's a real common theme among dentistry and people who work at the front desk of a dental practice. That's all they hear all day long. So Mark and Howie do not blame you for believing that all mom cares about is her insurance coverage and how much her exam is going to be. And we don't blame you for focusing on the exam fee and making it $39 and putting it on a postcard with Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse and mailing them out through EDDM, which is totally untargeted. We do not blame you for doing that. We totally understand why you believe that. Now we're going to break the cycle. Okay? Let's tell you why mom feels that way. She feels that way because nobody's teaching her the benefits of the dentistry you provide. Silence.
She's woefully uneducated.
She is woefully uneducated. Now, if half the moms in your market won't choose based primarily on a price incentive, and the same half of those moms are the type of moms that go to WebMD and do a bunch of research before they get almost anything done medically, right? And those moms are starving, thirsting for healthcare information or the benefits of the dentistry you provide. Guess who wins in your market if you're the person providing that information? You do. Because everybody else in your market is promoting dentistry based primarily on a price incentive. So,
right, and your audience doesn't see it on television.
No.
Yeah, they don't hear about it on the radio.
Does the ADA promote it?
Not lately.
How about insurance company? Does Delta promote the benefits of dentistry?
Oh, no, you're on a limb.
No, nobody does. So here's this is a very, very important point. The only reasonable conversation that mom, even in the top half of the market, can have with your staff the first time they call is really limited to the two things they know about, right? How much is your exam fee? Because I'm going to have to pay it before I leave. And do you take my insurance? Right?
Right.
Because they don't know anything else to ask. Because nobody's giving them anything else to ask. You know what's really telling, and this dovetails in perfectly. We have clients that, let's say they're mailing something, a trifold. Let's say they're mailing a trifold, and the first year we always put some kind of an incentive somewhere in the mailer. Usually we bury it in the lower right-hand corner. It's usually a free second opinion or a cosmetic consult or an implant consult, something like that. Okay? And invariably the doctors, our clients, in the second year, we're redesigning the piece and updating it. And they'll say, you know, Mark and Howie, I'm not sure I put the right incentives in my piece. Why do you say that, doctor? Because nobody's asking for them. And we laugh, just like Howie's laughing right now. We just laugh. And we say, isn't that the point? Isn't the point of promoting your dental practice to get people to call who are actually interested in dentistry? That's the point. Okay?
Right.
So, before you embark on effectively applying your marketing budget to your local community, you have to understand the two halves. You have to believe there are two halves. You have to believe that dentistry has done just a terrible job at promoting the benefits of your craft. I mean, you all went to school for 6 years and probably take hundreds of hours of CE, all the time away from your wife and or your husband, and kids and hobbies and all that stuff. And the only person that knows about it is you and 151,000 other dentists. The consumers don't know. That's your opportunity. There's a value gap.
If you can be a one or one of a group of dentists that promote the benefits of dentistry, in other words, what do they get? And stay away from the talk about price and cost and all of that kind of stuff, and just explain what you do and how good you are at it, and you know why they should come to see you for these benefits, and you'll be miles ahead.
There's a formula to doing this correctly. We actually have a spreadsheet that we are more than willing to share with you. If you want a spreadsheet, we call it the Marketable Attributes Scorecard. If you want that, send an email to Josh, Josh, @newpatientsinc.com, and just ask for the Marketable Attributes Scorecard. The Marketable Attributes Scorecard is separated by basically 5 main categories: price, convenience, technology, public relations assets, and dental services. And under each main category are all the things you do, all the technologies you have, all the conveniences you offer, and all your public relations assets. And each one of those is given a score: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And when you build a message, whether you're building radio, television, mailers, you can't do it with postcards. You can do it with trifolds, magazines, websites, definitely, social media. Okay, there needs to be a balance when you talk to the top half of the market. that balance is on that marketable attribute scorecard. The marketable attribute scorecard actually controls the balance of your message statistically oriented to the bulk of the top half of the market. What you never want to do is overstate one message. Right, Howie?
Right, right.
What happens when you do that?
If you're just going on and on and on, and you're marketing about sedation, which is a fine service, you might get into what's called a niche trap, and people will think, well, that's all you do. If you go to that guy, he's going to knock you out.
Right.
So you don't want to just harp on one single area of your practice.
Right. So what the top half of the market really wants to hear from you is a blend of services, price, conveniences, a smattering of technology, and a smattering of public relations assets in every message you give them. If you have the room, let me give you some media types where you would have plenty of room. Trifolds, plenty of room. Magazines, obviously, plenty of room. Websites, plenty of room. Those three are where you have the room to have a complete discussion so that mom isn't thirsting for more information. She can go to your website, get the rest, call you from there, become a new patient. The media types that are constricted are media types like TV, short length, radio, short length, print ads, short length, social media. You're never gonna put that big of a post on Facebook. Okay, so it's those are short snippet type media types, right? So if it's a short snippet media type, what you have to do is you have to make sure that you rotate your messages within each one of those 5 main categories. Again, the 5 main categories are price, convenience, services, technologies, and public relations assets. And like I said, Josh at newpatientsinc.com would be happy to email you the spreadsheet. I mean, it's the spreadsheet our designers use when they go to build whatever they're going to build for our clients. You can use the same spreadsheet or give it to your designers.
A very short way to look at it is that marketable attribute sheet is what mom needs to hear from you, in a nutshell.
Right. You'll never get all the things on the marketable attribute sheet in one presentation. It's totally impossible. Okay. But that's why they're scored. Okay. So what you try to do is you try to create a piece with the highest score. The scores come from the market research we did and the importance that the general public placed on each one of those items on the spreadsheet. So, for instance, you might be surprised to find out that dental services was actually rated 4th in the main categories. Okay. Most dentists are very surprised by that. Price, of course, was number 1. 2 was technology. 3 was convenience, and dental services was actually number 4. So you don't, and when you look at self-directed advertising from a dentist, normally what you see is the laundry list of services. Right, Howie?
Right.
People send us their advertising all the time and they say, what do you think? And we look at it and I mean, I'm laughing, but they almost all do the same thing. They create a laundry list of pain, they put their name on it, and they put a Google map on it. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's all about dental services.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
It
gets depressing after a while.
It does. It does. When the same practice offers same-day dentistry, they have CAD/CAM in the office, and it's not even anywhere in their advertising because they're listing all their services. Invisalign, implants, whatever. That's what the dentist is interested in selling. But what mom needs to hear from you is a little more mix: technology, convenience, price, services, public relations assets.
Right. Here's what we want the consumer to do when they see anything that comes from your office. We want them to look at it or listen to it or watch it and say, this looks like a good practice. They look like they're up to date technologically. They look bright and happy. They look like they might want me as a patient. And I can get my husband's snoring taken care of, and I can get ortho without having to go elsewhere. All of these things, all of these reasons to choose you, that's what they want. And then they pick up the phone, but actually they usually go to your website and they read more about what they can get. Those are the benefits of modern dentistry, and you can offer it.
Yeah.
You can offer all.
Yeah, that's what the moms in the top half do.
That's right.
The moms in the bottom half see your deal and they call you.
Right.
That's what they do. Okay, they get a postcard and they call. They call you. That's why it's different. That's why you have to give both halves the different message, and that's how you craft the message. And again, if you want to have your people follow our recipe book, Josh will be happy to email it to you. Anyway, so let's recap. Let's bring this to a close. This is our third in the Mastery series. So the first one, we defined the two halves. The second one, we gave you the characteristics and what to expect if you promote to both halves. Talked a little bit about targeting in that second one. And in this one, we're hopefully getting you to think or feel about what you're seeing in your own marketplace and begin to believe that even in your marketplace, there really is 48% of those women who will absolutely not respond to a price incentive to choose a dentist. If you believe that, now you're ready. Now we're ready to get into the meats and the meat and the bones of dental marketing mastery, which is going through all the media types, what to do, what not to do, how to do it, and all of the subordinate strategies to each one, which we're going to do in future installments. So, Howie, you got anything to add?
Well, I'm looking forward to doing a lot more of these. We're going to be having these on increasing numbers of channels like YouTube and iTunes. I think we're up on iTunes already. So any dentist out there who wants to let your buddies know about what you've been listening to, let them know. We'd sure appreciate it.
Yeah, you know what? I'll add to that. If you have any questions or specific things that are happening to you that we could use as a mini topic, we're not going to use it as a main topic in a mastery series, but we use it as an example topic within one of the segments. Just email Josh at newpatientsinc.com and give him your topic. This is like a call-in radio station where we'll give you name, credit, and everything, right? And we'll be happy to give you our expertise.
All right. Thanks for tuning in this week. We'll be back shortly. Thank you.